Hi everyone, I'm Kendra. I'm one of the coaches at CircoFit and wanted to give you a few minutes of at-home exercises that you could use to work on your leg line. A couple things you're going to need, and you can feel free to pause and come back and grab them. I have a rolling ball. You can also use just a golf ball. It's about that size. And you'll also need a tea towel. A TheraBand works as well if you happen to have one, but I wanted to pick things that were going to be easy for folks to have at home. So the first thing we'll do, and then I'll explain the reasons why, knees, ankles, feet, and toes, as we're rolling. So you're going to take the ball, and on the bottom of your foot, you're going to go up and down the middle, up and down the arch of your foot, up and down the outside of your foot, and then back and forth across the ball of your foot. Feel free to grab a wall if you need a little help with your balance. So why do we care about straight knees and pointed ankles, pointed feet, and pointed toes? When you think about what makes a skill look really beautiful in the air, when you have that nice clean straight leg line that goes all the way with the knees to the toes, across the ball of the foot too, don't forget that one. It can really elevate the way a skill looks, all the way from the first things we learn on the fabric to much more advanced skills. Switch feet. So again, we start in the middle of the foot, up and down, arch of the foot, the outside of the foot. Do that a few more times. Going back to my little narrative, when we're doing more advanced skills, if we forget about things like straight knees and pointed toes, even if we're strong enough to do the skill and we execute the rest of it well, it can be really distracting if we don't have that nice clean line. Hopefully you don't have too many crunchies in your feet. If you've been wearing tight shoes, although hopefully everyone's working from home and has been barefoot, which is even better. This rolling can feel a little bit intense, but standing up you can put as much or as little weight on that ball as you want. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down to our knees. We're going to use the soft part, the underside of one of our feet, and the shoelace part, the top of the other foot. You're going to stack that shoelace part on the arch of your foot, and you're going to sit back on it. So this just gives you a little bit more weight to get into the arch of your foot, sort of like a nice way to do a bit of a self-foot massage. Especially if your feet are tired at the end of the day, this is nice. Switch feet. But as part of a warm-up before we really get in there and use our feet, it's a nice thing to do as well. Back to that first side. We'll do each side twice. Sort of rock back and forth. Can feel that weight. If it's a little bit too much weight, you can sit more forwards. If you're saying that's really not enough pressure, you can sit more back on your foot. And from there, we're going to do a little movement sequence that'll really get into your feet in a pretty big way. So feet are going to be together. We're going to first come down nice and low to a squat. We tip our knees forwards. Our toes are staying tucked underneath. You're going to sit back on your feet. That'll give a nice stretch. Come forward. Feet come pointed. Hands are back. We're going to rock ourselves back onto our feet. This might look like this for you. It might look like this. Totally depends on how flexible your ankles are. And every single one of those is right. If it feels too intense, just back off. So we're going to come forwards, tuck those toes, sit back up, stand back up. We're going to do this 4 more times for a total of 5. So come down, tip those knees, sit back on the feet, feet come pointed, rock back, toes, get back, stand, knees down, toes stay tucked for a minute, walk back, tuck those toes again, stand up, to your knees, tuck those toes under, rock back to a squat, back to standing, last one, all the way down, let those knees come forwards, sit back on your toes, feet come flat, rock back up, tuck those toes, and back to standing. Next we're going to move on to some tea towel fun. So find a sit on the floor, and the action that this is going to be is starting with a nice flexed foot. You're going to slowly think of pointing the ankle, and then you're going to point the toes. You come back up. Toes come up first, back up to that flexed foot. Again, we point the ankle, and then the toes, and then back up. So we're using the towel to give some amount of resistance. If you do have a TheraBand, you would still put it across so it covers your toes and covers the ball of your foot. I know the tea towel is kind of going to hide my foot, so bear with me. So you're using your hands to provide some resistance. Choose your own adventure on this. You're going to want to just see how that feels and provide only as much tension as you think is right for you. So pointing, point the toes, and back up. 2, point those toes, back up to a flex. 3, 4, 5, 6. Really think about articulating that motion so it's very controlled. 7. And intentional. That'll help to make sure you get all the little muscles on the way. 8. 9. So we'll finish off 10 on this side. We'll switch that towel over to the other side. So again, same thing. Try that motion first. So we first point the ankle, we point the toe, toe comes up, ankle comes up. So point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The next exercise set is going to, while we're sitting here on the ground, ignore our feet a little bit, although, keep them pointed, and focus just on the knees. So knees, your legs can feel straight without them necessarily looking all the way straight, especially if you're up in the air. And that's partly because straight from a functional, like I'm standing on it perspective, isn't necessarily as straight as your knee will go, or in some people's cases as over straight as your knee can go. So the best way to work on that is sitting on the ground, kind of tuck your fingers under the squishy parts of the back of your knee, and think of pushing down into your fingers, and you're engaging and pulling with your quads. So you can see my feet, not everyone's feet will come up, my feet come up. So I squeeze down with my knees, my heels come up off the ground. So we're going to do some pulses and some holds, and then some leg lifts with nice straight knees and pointed toes. So starting with a pulse, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really think of squeezing down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then hold up. Remember to engage here. This should feel nice and hard. Your knees are pushing down into the ground beneath you. And back to pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, continuing to engage. We are nice and straight. You should feel some burn in that muscle. You're really engaging it. Plant your hands on the ground. We're going to lift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch legs. Remember, this leg, even though it's resting, is straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little wiggle, and we'll finish off with 10 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great work, everyone. We're going to use the towel still, but it can stay on the ground. I'm going to come back to standing. I'm going to use my handy door to make sure I don't lose my balance. And the towel is going to be on the ground in front of you. What we're going to do is pick up the towel with our feet and grab it. So, holding the towel, we're going to point, flex, point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. We're going to put that towel back down, wiggle our toes. We're going to pick it up again. So we're pointing. This time we're going to come up to the side, in, out behind us, and up. So the reason that we're adding some movement is to keep our toes and our ankles and our feet remembering to do their job, even when the leg is in a completely different position or we're moving. So if you drop your towel, totally okay. Pick it up, start again. So you should feel definitely here, these muscles. You don't usually grab and pick up things with your toes. I'm thinking, switch sides. Try to find a nice spot on your towel. So we are pointing, flexing, and flex, point, and flex, point, and flex, point, and flex. Give your foot a little bit of a break. And pick up that towel again. See if I can pick up the towel again. So out to the side, in, to the back, up, to the side, in, to the front. Oh, I feel like I'm going to lose my towel. This is my slightly less strong foot. Has nothing to do with much of anything, I don't think. One more time. And to finish it off, do as many sets of any of these as you'd like. To finish off the whole chain of what makes our foot able to point, we're going to do single leg calf raises, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, switch sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Shake it off. Come down into a down dog for just a minute. Walk out those calves. Feel that nice stretch. So just to review, front to back, did some foot rolling. We did a few foot stack stretching, so that's this guy, where the foot comes on top of the other, and you sit back on it. We did the stand squat with the toes tucked, feet pointed, rock back, a few sets of those. T-towel points, that's where your T-towel is over the ends of your feet, and you're working on improving the strength in the bottoms of your feet for your foot point. While we were seated, we did some straight knee exercises and a few leg raises. Just keep remembering that every exercise can be a line exercise. Then we did the T-towel pickups, so that's the standing one. You can do a whole bunch of variations of those. You can use a T-towel, you can use a TheraBand, you could use tissue, you could use a sock, choose your own adventure. And then we finished off with calf raises.